What if I told you that somewhere on this planet, there are places so terrifying that even the bravest souls dare not tread? Places where the laws of nature seem to break, where the line between reality and the supernatural blurs. Stay with me till the end, because one of these places might be closer to you than you think. Number 10. Hoia-Baciu Forest. Hidden deep in the heart of Transylvania lies the Hoia-Baciu Forest, a place so terrifying it has earned the nickname the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. This forest is infamous not only for its unusual appearance, trees that twist and curl in unnatural shapes, but also for its dark and unsettling history. The locals refuse to venture into the forest, and those who do often come back with strange stories of paranormal activity. The Hoia-Baciu Forest is said to be haunted by spirits, with reports of shadowy figures, strange lights, and ghostly apparitions in the trees. One of the most mysterious features of the forest is a perfect circular clearing in the center where nothing grows. Some believe this area is a portal to another dimension, while others claim the spirits of the dead are trapped there, unable to rest. The forest's eerie silence is only broken by the sound of footsteps that seem to come from nowhere. What makes Hoia-Baciu particularly chilling is the number of people who have vanished without a trace. Many have entered the forest only to never be seen again. Their less known location is often the strange clearing, with no signs of struggle or escape. The more you learn about this forest, the more it seems to hold secrets that no one can explain. Could there be forces at work here that defy our understanding of reality? And the scariest part, those who venture too far into the forest often report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, like something is watching, waiting, ready to claim them next. Number 9. The Myrtles Plantation. In the heart of Louisiana lies a plantation that has seen more death and tragedy than any house should. The Myrtles Plantation, often called one of the most haunted places in America, is steeped in a dark history that stretches back to the 18th century. Originally a grand estate, it now serves as a reminder of the horrific events that unfolded here. Those who visit often feel a chill in the air, an overwhelming sensation of being watched, and some even hear the sounds of children playing in the distance. The haunting legends of the Myrtles Plantation revolve around Chloe, a slave who allegedly poisoned the family's mistress and was later executed. Her spirit is said to still haunt the plantation, appearing as a ghostly figure with a green turban, wandering the halls and looking for revenge. But Chloe is not the only ghost here. The spirits of the children who died under mysterious circumstances also haunt the plantation, often making their presence known by knocking, laughing, or playing in the rooms. What makes the Myrtles Plantation especially eerie is the number of visitors who have captured inexplicable footage and photos during their time there. Disembodied voices, moving objects, and mysterious figures seem to appear out of nowhere, creating an atmosphere of terror that's impossible to ignore. Many claim the house itself is alive, feeding off the fear and sorrow of its past inhabitants. Could it be that the spirits of the past never left and are still waiting for someone to join them? Number 8. The Winchester Mystery House. In San Jose, California, there exists a mansion like no other. The Winchester Mystery House is an architectural maze built by Sarah Winchester, widow of the inventor of the famous rifle. After the deaths of her child and husband, she became obsessed with the idea that the ghosts of those killed by her husband's invention were haunting her. To appease these spirits, she spent nearly 38 years adding rooms, doors, and staircases to her mansion in a chaotic, seemingly random fashion. The house is filled with peculiar features that defy logic, staircases that lead to the ceiling, doors that open into blank walls, and windows that look out into other rooms. It's as if the very design of the house was meant to confuse, disorient, and protect its inhabitant from the vengeful spirits that were said to be haunting her. Some say the spirits still roam the halls, and strange occurrences, footsteps, whispers, and cold drafts are frequent. Sarah Winchester's obsession with the supernatural took a toll on the mansion, leaving it in a state of constant construction with no apparent end in sight. Visitors today report a sense of disorientation, as though they are being drawn deeper into the house's dark, twisted history. Is the mansion truly designed to protect its inhabitants from ghosts, or is it a prison for those who enter? And what if the house itself is not just haunted, but watching you as you walk its endless halls? Number 7. The Hill of Crosses. In the small country of Lithuania, a site of pilgrimage has become one of the most mysterious and eerie places on Earth. The Hill of Crosses, as it's called, is an inexplicable monument that consists of over 100,000 crosses left by pilgrims, the devout, and the lost. The site began as a symbol of resistance against foreign oppression, but it has since grown into a chilling reminder of suffering, loss, and something much darker. While the Hill of Crosses is a place of religious significance, it has also become the center of strange phenomena. Visitors to the site often report an overwhelming sense of dread, the sensation that someone or something is watching them. There are whispers that the crosses themselves are alive, shifting in the wind and rearranging themselves as though they have a mind of their own. And at night, the hill becomes especially unsettling, with many hearing footsteps or seeing figures among the crosses that appear to be watching them. Some believe that the Hill of Crosses is a place where the spirits of the dead have gathered, never finding peace. Local legends speak of the hill acting as a conduit, allowing the spirits of the deceased to reach across dimensions. Others claim the crosses are a form of protection, keeping malevolent forces at bay. But the question remains, what happens to the souls of those who visit and are drawn too deeply into the mystery of the hill? Could the souls of the lost be waiting for someone to join them among the crosses? Number 6. The Tower of London. The Tower of London, an iconic fortress on the banks of the River Thames, is one of the most infamous sites in the world. It has served as a royal palace, a prison, and an execution ground, and its long history is soaked in blood and betrayal. The tower is home to countless ghosts, including that of Anne Boleyn, who was executed on its grounds. But it's not just Anne who haunts the tower. There are many other restless spirits still lingering in its cold stone walls. Among the most well-known ghosts of the tower is Anne Boleyn, whose headless body is said to wander the halls, holding her severed head. Witnesses have claimed to see her apparition at various locations in the tower, including the Chapel Royal, where her ghost is most often seen. Other restless spirits include the two princes who were allegedly murdered by Richard III, as well as countless prisoners who were tortured and executed over the centuries. What makes the Tower of London particularly unnerving is its constant presence in the city's history. It has been a symbol of power, oppression, and fear for nearly a millennium, and the spirits who inhabit it seem to be tied to its bloody past. The tower is a place where the past is alive, where the spirits of the past refuse to stay buried, and where visitors often find themselves caught in the eerie echoes of history. And if you walk through the tower at night, would you be able to escape the ghosts of its dark past? Number 5. The Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. In 1986, the world was forever changed when the Chernobyl nuclear disaster unfolded in the Soviet Union. The city of Pripyat and the surrounding areas were evacuated, creating what is now known as the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. Though the disaster occurred decades ago, the area remains off limits to most. Despite the danger of lingering radiation, a few brave souls often referred to as stalkers venture into the eerie ghost towns, but something else lurks in the shadows, haunting the desolation of the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. Abandoned buildings, empty streets, and rotting remnants of human life paint a picture of irreversible devastation. But it's not just the physical decay that makes this place terrifying. There's an overwhelming sense of silence, a haunting stillness that suffocates the air. Some who have visited Pripyat claim to hear strange noises, distant voices, children playing, and the faint hum of electricity, as if the city is still alive in some form. Others report seeing shadowy figures darting in and out of the abandoned buildings, with no clear source for these apparitions. What makes Chernobyl especially terrifying is the lingering fear of radiation poisoning. Though most of the area is considered safe for short visits, the effects of radiation still linger in some places, undetected by the human eye. It's as though the land itself is cursed, forever marked by the horrors of that fateful night. As visitors wander through the ghost town, they are not just exploring a place of destruction, but a place where the past seems to never let go. But the scariest part, many who have ventured too deep into the exclusion zone claim they have seen something they can't explain. A lingering presence, as if the land itself is trying to trap them in its radioactive grip. Number 4. The Island of the Dolls. In the canals of Zerkimilko, Mexico, lies a small island that seems like something out of a nightmare. The Island of the Dolls is a place where hundreds of abandoned, decaying dolls hang from trees, their lifeless eyes staring blankly into the void. Legend has it that the island is haunted by the spirit of a young girl who drowned there. To appease her restless spirit, the island's caretaker began collecting dolls and hanging them around the island. But did this ritual ward off the girl's spirit or invite something far darker? Visitors to the island report an eerie, unsettling atmosphere. The dolls, many of which are missing limbs or have eyes that appear to follow you, seem to come alive in the presence of the living. There have been numerous accounts of people hearing whispers or the sound of children laughing, despite there being no children in sight. Some claim that the dolls even move, changing positions when no one is looking, as if they are trying to communicate. What makes the Island of the Dolls even more terrifying is its isolation. Located on a small, remote island, it's only accessible by boat, making it feel like the dolls are the island's only inhabitants, waiting for someone to join them. The deeper you venture into the island, the stronger the sense of unease becomes, as if something or someone is watching your every move. And as you stand in the center of the island, with the eyes of hundreds of dolls upon you, you can't help but wonder, are they watching or waiting? Number 3. Aokigahara Forest. Nestled at the base of Japan's Mount Fuji lies Aokigahara, also known as the Suicide Forest. This dense, mist-covered forest is notorious for being the site where hundreds of people have taken their own lives. The trees are so thick that sunlight barely touches the forest floor, creating an oppressive atmosphere of solitude and despair. But what makes this forest so terrifying is not just its tragic history, but the belief that it is haunted by restless spirits, ikininki, or hungry ghosts who feed on the suffering of those who enter. Aokigahara has been linked to various supernatural legends throughout Japan. It is believed that the forest is cursed, and that the spirits of those who have ended their lives there are trapped in the trees, unable to find peace. The deeper you go into the forest, the more likely you are to hear strange sounds, whispers, footsteps, and sometimes even voices calling out from the darkness. The atmosphere is thick with an overwhelming sense of dread, and many visitors feel a constant pull to go deeper, almost as though they are being drawn in by an unseen force. Despite its beauty, Aokigahara has become a place where the veil between life and death feels thin. Those who venture into the forest often report feeling disoriented, as if the trees themselves are shifting around them, leading them further away from the path. Some claim that they have seen figures moving in the shadows, or have felt a cold hand on their shoulder. Is it the restless spirits of the past, or something far more sinister that lurks with it? Number 2. Poveglia Island. In the Venetian lagoon, just off the coast of Italy, lies an island that's as chilling as it is abandoned, Poveglia Island. Once a quarantine station for the plague, then a mental asylum, Poveglia's dark history has left it with an eerie reputation. For centuries, the island was the site of death, torture, and suffering. Today, it is considered one of the most haunted places in the world, with reports of disembodied voices, strange shadows, and unsettling paranormal activity. Poveglia Island's past is deeply tied to its tragic history. In the 18th century, it was used to isolate people with the bubonic plague, with thousands of bodies thrown into mass graves. In the 20th century, it became a mental asylum, where patients were reportedly subjected to inhumane treatments, including lobotomies. The island's macabre legacy has made it a hotbed for ghost sightings, with many claiming to have seen ghostly figures wandering the island, or heard the sounds of chains rattling in the abandoned asylum. What makes Poveglia especially terrifying is the isolation. Completely uninhabited and off-limits to the public, it feels as though the island is locked in time, frozen in its tragic past. The air is thick with sorrow, and visitors who have ventured onto the island claim to experience extreme feelings of dread, as though the spirits of the past are still watching, waiting for someone to join them. And when you step onto Poveglia, will you be able to leave? Or will you become another lost soul in its dark history? Number 1. The Door to Hell. Imagine standing in the middle of an unending desert. The silence is oppressive, the air dry and still. Suddenly, in the distance, you see a fiery glow illuminating the horizon. As you approach, The ground beneath your feet radiates an unnatural heat, and there it is, the door to hell, a massive burning crater that has been aflame for over 5 decades. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie. It's a real place in the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, and its existence is shrouded in mystery. The crater, approximately 130 feet wide and 65 feet deep, was created in 1971 during a Soviet drilling operation gone wrong. The ground collapsed under the drilling rig, exposing a vast pocket of natural gas. To prevent the release of dangerous methane, geologists decided to set the gas alight, assuming it would burn out within a few days. But over 50 years later, the flames still rage on, defying all expectations and earning the site its hellish nickname. What makes the door to hell truly unsettling are the legends that surround it. Locals claim to hear strange noises emanating from the pit, moans, cries, and whispers that grow louder as the wind carries them across the desert. Some believe the crater is a gateway to another realm, a place where the boundaries between our world and the underworld blur. Others suggest the flames are eternal because they are feeding on something far below the Earth's surface, something no one dares to investigate. But here is the question that keeps adventurers awake at night. If this is just a burning crater, why does it feel like the Earth itself is alive and watching? As we journey through the shadows of these enigmatic places, one thing becomes undeniably clear: the world is far stranger than we could ever imagine. From eerie whispers in the dark to the unexplainable bending of reality, these locations remind us that there is still so much we do not understand. Perhaps it's the thrill of the unknown that draws us in. Or maybe it's the unsettling idea that these mysteries might hold answers we are not ready to face. Either way, these haunting places stand as a testament to the vast and chilling wonders of our planet, a reminder that not all corners of the Earth are meant to be explored. So, the next time you feel the pull of curiosity, remember the stories you have heard today. Look over your shoulder, trust your instincts, and tread carefully. Because the unknown isn't always waiting in far-off lands, it might be lurking just around the corner.